Welcome to today's training on process safety culture, a topic that forms the very foundation of a safe, reliable, and resilient operating environment. Whether you're an operations manager, department manager, team leader, or safety professional, the way you engage with safety culture impacts not just your shift, but the long-term sustainability of your entire facility. In high-risk industries like oil and gas, chemicals, and manufacturing, technical systems are only part of the equation. We've all seen procedures in place that weren't followed. We've seen warning signs ignored. Why does this happen? It often comes down to culture, the unwritten rules and shared attitudes that shape how people behave when they face ambiguity, pressure, or conflicting priorities. In this session, we'll break down what process safety culture means beyond the buzzwords, why it's so important with real-life examples of when culture helped or hurt, and how it influences the effectiveness of every safety system from operations to incident response. This is the first and most essential step in understanding how to apply risk-based process safety in practice. Let's get started. So, what exactly is process safety culture? Let me begin with a simple quote. Culture is how we do things when no one is watching. This isn't about the safety posters or the annual audit checklist. It's about the habits, attitudes, and decisions people make in their day-to-day roles, especially in situations where the rules aren't clear or time is tight. Technically, process safety culture is defined as the combination of shared group values, beliefs, and behaviors that shape how process risks are understood and managed. It reflects how seriously an organization takes hazards that could lead to catastrophic outcomes, such as explosions, toxic releases, or major equipment failures. Think of culture as the lens through which people interpret safety rules. Do they follow a procedure exactly, or skip steps to get it done faster? Do they feel empowered to stop unsafe work? When a small leak occurs, do they report it or assume someone else will? These behaviors are driven not just by training, but by what the organization rewards, tolerates, or ignores. That's culture. And here's a critical point. Culture isn't static. It can evolve positively or negatively, depending on leadership actions, peer influence, and organizational stressors like cost cutting or production pressure. Over time, culture becomes the great enabler or silent saboteur of your safety systems. Now that we've defined what process safety culture is, let's talk about why it's so critically important, not in theory, but in real world life and death scenarios. Across decades of industrial history, every major process disaster has had technical failures, yes, but what investigators almost always find beneath the surface is a failure in safety culture. Let me give you three quick examples. Challenger 1986, engineers were concerned about the O-rings, but under pressure to meet the schedule, NASA leaders disregarded the warnings. The culture of risk suppression and deference to hierarchy led to a fatal launch. Longford Gas Plant 1998. Operators were poorly trained to understand the risks of restarting the plant after a shutdown. They didn't recognize the signs of a brittle fracture. The culture didn't promote risk questioning, and the result was a massive explosion. Piper Alpha 1988. Communication lapses between maintenance and operations led to gas release and an explosion offshore. The culture tolerated informal handovers and didn't prioritize speaking up about risk. What these tragedies have in common is this: procedures existed. Systems were in place, but the culture overrode the systems. That's the lesson. Culture determines how your people will act when a new operator encounters an unexpected condition. A technician is running late and considers skipping a step. A supervisor hears about a minor leak and decides whether to escalate. In a strong culture, people are empowered to stop work, question inconsistencies, and speak up not because it's written in a manual, but because they feel it's the right thing to do. In a weak culture, people look the other way, stay quiet, or prioritize production because that's what's actually rewarded. Culture also becomes essential when procedures are outdated, new hazards emerge. You're in a novel situation with no clear guidance. In those moments, it's culture, not documentation, that guides decisions. So, to summarize, process safety culture is what gives your systems meaning. It fills the space between the written rule and the real world action. And if you don't actively shape it, it will evolve anyway, often in ways that undermine your safety goals.